name's Alex Lewis. I'm the venue director at the Kia Oval, so I run the joint venture between Surrey Cricket Club and Levy Campuses Sports and Leisure Arm. The test event started in an interesting way, as everything has this summer, where it was pretty quick, to be honest. We knew we were kind of in the running to host a pilot event at one of our county matches. It came very last minute. We found out 5 days before the day that we were allowed crowds in at 1,000 people. So end of July we held 2 events back to back, both for 1,000 people in here. We had invited all our members to attend. It was certainly subscribed to very quickly, and they were hugely successful. We've spoken to a lot of them since. We obviously sent out surveys of all of our test events, and they were met very favourably. And then we had a second pilot that was scheduled, which again, hugely successful event. A lot of work going into it, as these things often do, but we've subsequently spoken to the people who came along, and the verdict from the people that came in was nothing short of staggeringly positive. There was no cases on track and trace linked up with it, so very positive from our side. The process of organising the pilot events was a tough one. We were fortunate in so much as we've been quite proactive in getting the site ready for staff and teams. We hadn't furloughed our players, as most of the counties had, so we were here training in the build up to that anyway. So we had put a lot of the external work in terms of COVID signage, in terms of risk assessment, getting our COVID security passed through our safety advisory group. All of that sort of stuff had been done before we'd even started the process. So we were ahead of where we wanted to be, which is why we could mobilise it so quickly. That said, it was still a tough week getting ready for that first crowd to come in. Everything from zoning off all of our kitchens so that there was no cross-contamination in the kitchens, right the way through to COVID signage and one-way traffic throughout the whole ground. So there's a huge commitment from the club to want to do this and kickstart the industry. But it was a lot of work from a lot of people that had to go in, right from the top of DCMS, through Public Health, through Lambeth Council, and to the team on site here. There's so many sort of myriad of aspects of this in terms of preparation that we needed to get right the way from the customer experience when they walked in, from hand sanitizer stations ready on arrival, from stewards in protective PPE. All of our staff were wearing masks, our staff in catering wearing gloves. I mean, this was the first event, sports event to ever happen in the UK, so we hadn't got anybody to learn from, and so we were literally learning on the hoof. Biggest learning I think we had from it was learning that for the staff it's really difficult. They hadn't been on site for a year. They'd certainly never done work before in masks and gloves, and suddenly they're in this sterile environment with lots of people watching them. And it was really trying to get them to feel relaxed and happy and do the jobs that they can easily do normally in this very weird scenario. It was a real management challenge for the team on the ground to try and calm people down and give some comfort both to the staff and the customers. The pilot events were a learning curve throughout the whole business, to be fair. Not only in terms of the match days itself, but the non-match day meeting and events business we learned a lot. But the meeting events was probably most interesting, just in terms of style of food service. The days of buffets are no longer, so the way we packaged our food item, we had bespoke made compostable boxes that we served all of our food in on a match day. We then immediately rolled that out into our meeting and events business because it looked good, it worked for the customers, and we can roll that side of it out. The social distancing measures that we learned on the pilot event in terms of what the density of the space was, and particularly public areas, we learned very quickly. We temperature checked everybody on the match day, and that was done very successfully. And similarly, we had a requirement on the pilot event for people who didn't bring a mask with them, so we ended up bringing a vending machine that had masks and hand sanitizer on it, and we ended up being so successful we kept it for the meeting and events in our reception area, so that people can, if they do turn up without the right equipment, there's at least the ability for them to be able to purchase something with it. We're on a learning curve on a weekly basis at the moment. The other aspect of it was looking after from the customer's perspective and understanding flows of movement. It's quite easy to put in a density ratio and keep 2 metres separate in the room, but it's not in the public areas. And when you're starting to look at people going to the bathrooms during their breaks, people entering the ground and how they go into the lift access, into the floors. These sort of things which we learned, well in the pilots, because there was 2,500 people in there. But were real learning curves of us of, it's not the front of house necessarily the problem, it's the mechanism that goes behind it. Confidence is key, but it's mostly key from the market of people who actually book these businesses events. That is key. The delegates who come here are mostly happy to come here and are eager to attend these events. We are eager to host them, our staff are eager to put them on and are confident that we are COVID safe. The key is really the people who book the events. Not only are we nearing on a recession, if we're not in one already, which is going to dent consumer confidence more and more, but we've also got this situation where there's too much grey area in what people are and are not allowed to do at the moment in the meeting event sector. There needs to be some clarity and there needs to be some confidence put into the people who are booking these events. I can understand why they're not, but it's the ultimate payer of the bill, which is the corporate land, that needs to have their confidence fulfilled back in that we can deliver it. We just need to convince the companies who are physically booking these events either through agents or directly that this is a safe time to be able to do business still.